Hello all, this is Zimnala coming at you with another adventure in the game of Minutescape. Coming back off of a couple-minute break, I updated a little bit of the game layout stuff so that it matches the specific game. I always do that after my game showcases. I like to have my default game showcase thing for people, just so that it gets some consistency, you know? I'm looking at the background just to see like if it moving affects it, but nah, it's just wiggling on its own. But yeah, the goal is to survive for 5 minutes, and we're barely scratching 1 minute and 10 seconds most of the time, so I may have gotten rusty in the past 10 minutes of not playing, so let's find out. Or maybe I got better, maybe the break helped, you know? It's a little hard to know at this point. I'm sure the game will let me know. I mean, we like to think that taking breaks helps the concentration, and sometimes it does, and sometimes the focus helps, and it's a little hard to know which is more important, you know? Well, that was the longest we've ever made it, so I guess we are progressing. Now the bigger question is, do we just take the first one, or do I get the multiplier? I think the multiplier will help us more. So I guess I'll save one more round for that. I mean, it also kind of depends on how much it ramps up, because like if it ramps up significantly more in a way that I can't parse, this does seem like the kind of game I might have to split into 2 sessions, because like that could become really draining, and I might switch to something a little less intense for a while. Well, it is what it is. Alright, so let's multiply our income. So we only have 2 upgrades to get. So I guess we'll just push our way through those. Oh, I didn't spend any of my green tokens, hilarious. Not that I think it's going to be a significant run breaker to get a little bit more max on the first one anyway, so. I mean, if anything, the biggest thing we could get would be that the pluses actually heal us, and that's a 500 green smackaroo upgrade, so... Well, that was better than before. If I'm gonna guess, the next currency comes in at the 2-minute mark, but maybe it's a minute and a half. That'd be kind of nice. But I suspect we have so many upgrades of purple to get that probably it's the 2-minute mark. We did almost get enough to get that. Even though we don't technically have it unlocked, we'd have to get this first, which would require us to finish this and then this. So I guess it isn't actually an option for us yet until we start spending purple in that direction. Interesting. Okay then. The problem with that is that this is so expensive that I feel like it's not super likely we'll jump into it immediately. I'd probably, maybe there's something that leads to it here. Although I think I'm more likely to buy this, get whatever's here, and then start building into this because we're gonna... Well, maybe it doesn't matter because it's the same thing, so I'll finish this first. Yeah, that's about right. It's okay. Guess we'll learn to turn pages. See what page 2 has going on. Oh, it has a timer on it. And page 3 is the stats. Interesting. So we played 50 games. So our current tendency is to get to about 117, although we almost made it to 130 one time when we got like into a flow state or something. Well, see, we did it again, but it was definitely not easy. And we are kind of out of upgrades to spend green on currently, so maybe we do use the market and try to see how much purple we could get. Let's just go in on purple and do what we can with it. Because all of our stuff is hiding behind purple. We gotta give ourselves something else to upgrade. Looks like this will help us quite a bit, so we should probably unlock this. It gives us at least something else that we can build into that will help us. My instinct is to just get more and more income, but we're like wasting a currency by converting it, so like that's also a bit of a waste, you know? They're a waste in either direction. We're just so much wasted space. I don't know. I don't really have any idea where I was going with that. We're all just such beautiful garbage. Well, it was still respectable, I guess. Well, it did give us some more green stuff to spend on. So did that. So I guess we can now go back to saving up and buying stuff. So, yeah. Bam. Blam. Blam. not 100% sure how that one works. Like, I think it just makes it so that less bullets spawn in an overall sense, but I think it's just talking about the normal ones, not like the special purple ones, so it may technically be reducing our red income a little bit, but probably could significantly affect how much damage we take in the end. When essentially the only thing we can afford to dodge is the purple. We know that 130 doesn't give us the new currency. We made it past it, but we are going to get a new message. So let's take a look at that. Greetings, player. Aren't you tired of dodging bullets? Why don't you take a break and never come back? Of course. That sounds great. Never coming back, that sounds like my favorite thing to do. Okay, which of these do we want to get first? Well, having more health sounds nice, but I think taking less damage is probably better for us. Although the answer is probably somewhere in the middle anyway. The next one was 75. I guess we could look at it to see how that works. I really hope that's not another button to push on the keyboard. These first two have been mouse pushes. I don't really want to double down on the input devices. Not that it would be the biggest problem, but like, it would kind of detract from the whole minimalistic thing that had been going on. Oh, you can get more something income, so with red. So red has another use going forward. Okay, let's yeah, it's basically like what if you took the Undertale minigame but went too far with it, but like it's intentionally trying to be mean to you. I've been playing it for an hour and 20 minutes. It's been sitting in my library for about 3 or 4 months. And you know, I was like, it's probably a 3 or 4 hour game. It's not terrible. Like, I actually appreciate how mean it is, believe it or not. I think games are way too lenient sometimes. So like a game that's just unfair on purpose, I can get behind. Yeah, I actually have like hundreds of games that I'm meaning to play, so like I'm slowly introducing them into my play. Like I'll give myself like 3 or 4 games that I'm playing that are long form, and then if I feel like I have enough content for those for a while, I will start dabbling with my extra time into this kind of thing. So generally, I basically I do long like streams like yesterday, where I get like 8 videos going, and then I will like release them in hour-long segments on YouTube, one a day, you know. But it's not like I only release 1 video a day; it's 1 for each play I'm doing, you know. Like so, you'll probably be like 4 or 5 videos a day. But I don't spend my time editing videos. I spend my time playing games, so. You're not really meant to have an easy time after a certain point. So if it seems hard for you to follow, it's definitely not easy for me to follow either at this stage. Okay. I'm gonna keep pushing at it for at least the next hour, and then we'll see if I want to push through to the end, or if I think I'm far off, I might switch off to something a little nicer to my brain. Yeah. Do I want these upgrades right now? I guess having more invulnerability time would be pretty helpful when we're getting hit like 15 times a second. Bigger box, hilarious. I guess we'll save up and get the multiplier income still. I think if we get past 2 minutes, we'll finally get the next currency though. We'll get a chance to see it soon. Yeah, the ultimate goal is to survive for 5 minutes, so. As you get upgrades, it gets easier to survive, so. I don't know how easy it is to win without all the upgrades. So I don't know if you like need to get all the upgrades and be lucky, or if you can win earlier on skill, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna claim to be overly skillful on this kind of rhythm-y type game. But my biggest strength is I'm persistent, so I don't give up just because it's a little hard. Yeah, although I would hardly say it's an Undertale premise in an overall sense. The whole dodge thing has been around for way longer than that. Like way back in the Atari days, there were games that were at least a little bit like this. Undertale just made it a little bit more prominently and obviously upfront in people's minds. I don't expect a lot of people to have a lot of memories of the Atari days anymore. But it certainly stands out in an age when games have largely gotten easier. this is not a rant on like a back in my day kind of thing, but like it's definitely a case where games don't want you to completely like just get shut out because they're so hard. So they give you systems like this. Like even this game isn't like those games because you have an upgrade system. On an arcade, like Atari days, you wouldn't have any upgrades. You would just be like a score-based system to see how long you survive, and it just never gets easier. But the only reason I even mention that it might be like Undertale is because people are gonna probably comment, it's like, oh, this is just like Undertale. And I wanted to acknowledge that, like, I noticed that they use something like this. So we need 50 more to get a multiplier. We are running out of green upgrades again, so you might want to consider spending that way again. What is the next upgrade? I don't think I want to spend that on that immediately. I'd rather get a multiplier first. Yeah, the N64 had some pretty difficult games. I wouldn't say it was a trend across the whole system, though. There were still some pretty forgiving things. I mean, the Super Nintendo had some really unforgiving stuff going on, and the Nintendo before that was actually plagued with really impossible titles. Like, the biggest thing that made the N64 games hard is that when they switched to 3D, they didn't do it in an easy way, so you fought the camera most of the time, not the games themselves. So it was not mechanically difficult, just it was difficult to figure out what was going on. I got to see most of it, although I didn't directly experience most of the Atari days, although it technically existed. The first console I personally owned for myself was a Genesis. The Genesis was a pretty cool system. Yeah, we're definitely toast. But no, the PS2 has a lot of bangers for it. Like, some of the really challenging games on it I would recommend would be like Odin Sphere. Odin Sphere was a great, difficult hack and slash RPG. That game is amazing. Has a great story. But like other ones like Dark Cloud 2, also known as Dark Chronicle, I think, in the EU, and that was like my favorites growing up on it. I also liked the dot hack games on the PS2 era. Yeah, like, I could get that. I could get behind that. I can play fighting games, but they are not a genre that I especially, like, prefer. Like, if I was to pick a fighting game genre that I like the most, it would probably be the Guilty Gear games, because I thought the characters were interesting. But, like, a bunch of just random karate guys does not really pull me the same way as it might some. And I know that Tekken's more like the straight, real, like, fighting stuff, and that's fine, that's cool, I like the representation. But like, I play games to escape from reality, not to get stuck in the mundanity of it. I want things to seem different, you know? And that was technically our best run. Oh yeah, I can get behind that. Like, I did actually beat Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2, and I played Street Fighter at like friends' houses, and it was fine. But like, after I played a few of them, I'm like, you know, this was alright, but like, I don't have much interest in just continuing to like do this over and over again. I am Speed. That's such a funny name for the speed upgrade. But no, if you want to know which games I specifically grew up on, like on the Genesis, my parents did get me. They got me Sonic 1, and I thought that was okay, but the game that I also got with it was a game called Shining in the Darkness, which was a dungeon crawler, and that's the game I spent half a year mapping out by hand on a graphing paper notebook, just mapping every single block in that whole labyrinth. Because there's no in-game map. You have to find your way while fighting monsters. So, I think that did really formulate like how I approach games, the whole exploring and figuring out where to go and how things are connected. Like, I started like making graphs of like EXP charts and like mapping out differences in games, and I like to see how things change as you level up. I like to see how and nowadays I love games that get constant little updates because I can see what they've changed, and that interests me. I like to see the choices that people make in making games better in their opinion, because it's usually a matter of opinion, you know. Some people might not like the upgrade, you know. We did make it 2 seconds further. Okay. That's cool. So thinking about which games that might have done that for me was maybe playing Worms with my friends. I liked the Worms games. You did co-op together and like shot the enemy teams up. You could even fight each other, but like I've never been a fan of just that kind of mode in games. Oh, that's cool. You unlock the ability to be slowed less by that. That's cool. We need to break into this section though. So we need something that's gonna give us more things to buy. This might be the edge of the map, by the way, like maybe there is no more unlocks this way, but I'm not gonna assume that. I'll still get the things along there hoping for it. But yeah, we're out of green upgrades, so I guess we'll go into the market and buy a few. Let's just convert this run stuff into it, see if that gets us anything good. Finally making our box bigger. But more armor will also reduce how much damage we take from every hit, so we should be able to survive. Oh yeah. See, while I did have a Game Boy, I actually learned very quickly that I don't like playing games on small screens, so until I got a Super Nintendo with like the Game Boy emulator on it, I didn't really experience any of the Game Boy games outside of like maybe the very first Pokemon and maybe a couple of really small experiences on the Game Boy Color. Like just focusing on the small screen is unpleasant to me. It hasn't really gotten better with like cell phone games and stuff, like even like the DS, like the screens are still too small for me to want to focus in on them. Like, I'd literally rather play anything else on any other system. And I think that's a matter of taste, not like there's anything like wrong with it per se. I think I just enjoy sitting in front of a real TV or a computer. But the original Game Boy did in fact hurt my eyes. Oh, we're getting closer. Yeah, I can understand that. Like, my big thing is that anytime that I went anywhere that might be useful, I just would prefer to read. I loved reading. So I just have a book instead. But that's just my experience. I could get behind that. I mean, I have switched more into manga lately, but that's because like there haven't really been any science fiction like authors that have really interested me all that much. Like that's usually what I read back then, was just science fiction and fantasy, because at least it gave me like things I didn't know. New ideas, new places. Aragon was okay. The ones that I liked the most were probably the Dragonflight series by Anne McCaffrey was a really good series. Other than that, there was also the Chronicles of Drista Orden. I love the Belgariad. I like the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant the Unbeliever. I love almost everything that Robert Heinlein wrote. I also love the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov. I liked almost everything else that Stephen R. Donaldson wrote, other than the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. I liked a decent amount of what Piers Anthony wrote. I enjoyed most of Stephen King's books, even though the material was pretty grim. Like, you gotta round out your experiences, man. You can't just have happy endings, you know? If you just go for happy endings, you won't have any sense of how life is. But we'll probably have a much better time now that we use less of our charge on stuff. So that was probably the missing piece of our equation, although we are still taking a lot of chip damage, so it's only going to help to some degree. Oh yeah. I don't know how much is going to change when we reach 2 minutes. This is definitely going to slog us all the way to the end, though, and I can appreciate that. It's definitely more challenging than most incrementals I played. So, I can actually appreciate that. Yeah, like when we started this session, like we couldn't barely get past 110, and now we're pushing at right under 2 minutes. So you could feel the progress, even though you have to drag your way across it, like kicking and screaming. I'm all for the inexorable flow of time. Oh, I didn't even mention those games on the PS2. Probably my favorite games on the whole system might have been the Legacy of Kain games. Those games are absolutely fantastic. Really should get either just a sequel. Like, they all only want to do remasters. Like, that's my biggest criticism, is that they don't make real games, most of these companies, anymore. They don't know how to make games anymore. They fired literally every one of their companies that make games. So now the only thing that they know how to do is make remasters. And don't get me wrong, I've liked some of the remasters. Like, I really liked what they did with the Dead Space remake of it. And I really enjoyed the remake and remaster of Shadow Man for the N64. But I really wish that they made games still, some of these companies, because they have so many IPs they're just sitting on that if you're not going to make games for them, pass them along. You know? Like, give it to someone who will make a game for it. Maybe secure royalties or something, but you know? Like, there were times when they were fine with making games that weren't good just to progress the story, you know? Now they're so scared. Not every game in a series was ever good, you know? Well, that's the problem. Originally, these companies made games because they liked making games. Now I think they're scared of making games. One of these is going to be the one that dips us into 2 minutes. We got a bunch of armor upgrades on this. We increased our invulnerability timer. We also reduced how much charge is used by slowing time down, so maybe this will be the one. I can barely see it when we take a chip damage, so here's hoping. We also increased our regeneration rate. Like, I literally only, well, not only, but I literally focus mostly on indie-style games because at least they're trying new things. And while not all of them execute on him amazingly, sometimes I support them just for trying, you know? There's definitely like indie games that I don't enjoy playing, but I give them kudos for making, you know? Well, it's usually not their fault. Usually it's because, like, there are just certain genres of games that I can only stomach to some level. Like, even this kind of game is kind of hard for me. Like, it's short enough that I feel like I can get through it, but I couldn't get through, like, another, like, 2 or 3 hours on top of this, you know? But I feel like I could finish out, like, the 3 or 4 hours this is gonna take without too much trouble. But maybe, like, 5 or 6, I would be real sick of it. We made it to 2 minutes. We didn't get a new currency quite, because I don't think we lived long enough, but we made it to 2 minutes. We are on the way. We got a new message, let's see. That wasn't me, please ignore it. It has been 43 years. You can't give up now. I feel like you're just telling me it's been 43 years. They're trying to convince me, they're gaslighting me. I don't believe them. This is less visible. Oh, is it so that it distracts me less? Okay, that could be cool. Okay, you're right. They're only trying to help, right? Maybe you're right. Maybe. I've never had it happen though, so maybe they never would. It's finally starting to feel like we've at least got space to move around, you know? The game's original thing was like a quarter of this size. The first minute of this is super easy peasy now. We could almost just sit here and let it hit us, but I'm clearly not really. Maybe 2.5 minutes is the next currency, actually. Crazy. Well, I was going easy this time. Well, that was improvement. That was 16 seconds longer. So maybe this healing is going to be what we need. Oh, and more armor hiding behind it. Well, I think this is the last upgrade I'm going to buy using purple until I finish this out. I think that they're expensive enough now that we should do that. Oh no. That's probably not a good sign. But maybe Silent Hill is just a hill where nothing happened. Well, now we know that 2 minutes is not the mark to reach. We just gotta keep going further and further. At least we're getting a little bit healed with each pickup, so. Not that matters too much, because we're also regenerating, so it's a little uncertain how much they're healing me, but still, more than 0 is good. That's right, there is another upgrade we could have bought, huh? I forgot about that for a second. We did have another thing to buy in the lab. Not that I estimate it would make things simpler, but maybe it would. Aim around you. Oh, it doesn't use a button. How does that work? Well, it gives us something to do. It says aim around me. Is that something that I have to, like, look to get with my mouse key? Interesting. Huh. Well, it's cheap. Let's look at that. Challenges. You don't think we're being challenged enough? So yeah, this is how we get the next currency actually. We do need this. So it's not a time thing, it's something we had to unlock. Understood. Oh no. Well, we'll see. So how does this work? Oh. Don't know what that does, to be honest. It didn't give me a button to push, so. Hoping it gets to be a little bit more obvious. We'll take another look. Well, after this, I'm gonna take a couple-minute break, but we'll be back for another hour, I think. It's not overwhelming me more than it already was, so that's a good sign. I definitely need to reread however this shield mechanic works, because it didn't give me like an indication of a charge or how it works at all, or any indication that it's working. It just said aim around you. What does that mean? I don't like see an aim mechanic that's functioning in this. Like you move by like moving in towards whatever you're pointing at, so. Oh, you set it to a button. Oh. Oh, I see. I see. I see. So, okay. I was wondering. We need to just basically take a bunch of hits and get a bunch of currency then. I definitely knew there was something I was missing on my first play with that. To be fair, none of this actually... Oh, you can assign it, right? It does say it right there. But it wasn't super obvious. Well, it was obvious in one play where it didn't give me an option, though. But yeah, we're gonna take a short, like, couple-minute break. I'll see y'all in a couple minutes. But bye-bye for then.